What's up, guys? It's been a little bit, and what I wanted to do today is go over what happened in FlyQuest versus BLG. I'm not going to go over specific clips or anything. I'm mostly just going to narrate how I perceived each game progressing from game 1 to game 5, how we should feel about both teams. So starting with the first game, we had a Talia first pick, a Nico Steelway, plus a Xin Zhao, Ezreal Karma, and honestly, of course, taking this away from Boosty was fantastic. It's his best pick. But they played the lane very well. Like the Ezreal Karma, they played very well. And even though they tried to take a matching pick into Ezreal with MF, they still stumbled a little bit. And honestly, the big fucking star of this game was Inspired Sejuani. Like this guy, he was pretty much beating out H1 everywhere. And especially because he got top snowballed. Because he got first blood. Was it first blood for Aatrox versus Sion? And that's gonna be a common thing that we saw is that like for Bin, they look to punish this guy like a lot. Like this happened a ton. Also, I should really switch this color to black. So Bin, he was a big target for FlyQuest. Like this guy kind of just ints randomly, and they really put a lot of effort into making sure that like Blippo had good situations going for him in a lot of the games. And so he got the Aatrox ahead. And I'm going to tell you right now, like, by NACL standards, it's not the same level compared to upper end, like, MSI Worlds. But this is not a fun matchup for Sion. Like, if you leave Sion alone in this matchup, he will progressively drop, and it will get bad. So the only thing I was curious on was, can Blippo even like play Aatrox that well? He played it reasonably okay, honestly. It's not like he wasn't a phenomenal Aatrox, but he played it well enough that he got a lead with Inspired. Inspired transferred this into bot lane, got their sums, I think. And after that happened, these guys took over, and they just had a very good game. I mean, like, the Sejuani, like, Inspired played really well. The bot lane was playing pretty well. The Aatrox was getting a lot of situations going for him. The only downside is that when it came to certain extensions in the fights, like, if this was, like, the river, and you had, like, this bush here, then you had this bush here. Let's go put a B for... Wow, okay. Let's put a B for bush. It's like the river extends this way, right? And then it kind of like opens up this way. If BLG was playing in this slot here, this is like BLG, and this is Fly, they kind of sometimes just overextended or like started trying to chip out the Sion too much. And the end result was them firing back with like these like quick looks, these quick ultis, and they got a lot of value from it. Like, I think it was on the Grubs situation. It was either Grubs or Herald where, like, the Nico got an R, the MFR came out, and, like, 2 people just died. And that was the biggest issue that was happening for FlyQuest in the game, is that they were just extending just a bit too far, getting a little too hasty in some of the picks, and they just died. And that is a little foretelling in, like, how the rest of the series ends up going, honestly, and something to hold on to. But yeah, they were actually able to climb back out of the early deficit and make it at least a little bit of a game, despite the fact that, like, yeah, Inspired was odd one that game. But generally, though, it was just a solid win for FlyQuest, and everything looked good. The problem is we go into game 2, and the draft just becomes awful. Like, in all honesty, it was just very surprising to see the draft just take such a weird turn from what they were doing in the first game. Because the first game, you have picks that can scale well, they can play their lanes, and everything looks good. You go into the next game, and it's full early game. And FlyQuest is like not a team that just like beats you in full early game situations. Like that's not really been what they were about. So they took a Pantheon, and keep in mind, this is pretty common that happens in the series as well. It's like when they're on blue side, like they're just banning like all these mid lane champions. So they're trying to like limit some of the options for quad. knowing that um, Knight has a deeper pool. And so they take an Annie 1 pick. Now, here's the thing. In this tournament, we have seen Annies taken, and you know what their answers are into Annie? We've seen, like, Oriana. I think we've seen a Silas. I think we've seen a Quirky. It's ranged a little bit, but the thing is that no one, I have not seen, I don't think I've seen this, like, too much yet, is the Victor. And the Victor is probably one of the worst matchups for Annie to deal with. Why? Because if you're playing Ori and you throw the ball at Annie, like, yeah, she can kind of just fire shield it, soak that, and she can get into your range, and then everything feels like fine, you know? But for the Victor, the laser's long. Like, you do not get in range of this shit that often. And he also has his Q to just kind of, like, if he wants to trade with you, he will match your shield with his Q, and it'll be perfectly fine for him. And so he steadily gets stronger and stronger playing out of your range, and it's just a nightmare. If you leave it alone, yeah, Annie's just gonna get ran pretty hard. And also, I'm gonna change this color because I don't even like the black color. So let me change this too. So he goes down like -20 plus. Like, it got really bad. This game he was like -10 plus. But this game he went down big time. And the thing with FlyQuest is they're not really, like, when it comes to like mid jungle, they're just like okay. Like, unfortunately, they're not really the greatest mid jungle team. They don't use quad that way, and he kind of steadily dealt and like beat people in the LTA. But when it comes to like this competition, it's not even like nowhere near as good. And as you can tell in most of these games, like the games against BLG, the games against AL, Shanks, the games against even Caps, he's losing. Like, he's just not there. He's not a rookie. He's played in LCK for over 40 games. So the expectation that this will just get better over time, very big question mark. So that's a little unfortunate thing coming from like this tournament, but like I'm just saying, he hasn't been doing that great laning wise into these, and like early game wise into these other mids, and you put him in probably one of the worst matchups he could be in, and you're playing a style that you're just not really that good at. This kind of just became pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, his Wukong is good, by the way. Like, in isolation, Inspired's Wukong, he was actually finding a lot of value and good looks. Like, it makes me think of like Tarzan in a way. Like, Tarzan is having a phenomenal like recency bias play, and in this tournament as well. And yeah, honestly, I was getting Tarzan vibes from Inspired. He was doing that well. They slammed the Renekton, which he did okay for like what it was. He was like 3-1, but the main issue is that Bin just took Ornn. Like, it's not really a Bin champion, but he played Ornn. He went up like +10, and if you look at the comp, it's like we also took a Kalista Renata, which needs to be successful. Like, it must be successful, especially having an Annie and Renekton to like win out this game. And they actually kind of got shat on in isolation. Like, they kind of just lost the 2v2. And if this is happening, especially also, by the way, they survived 2 times. Like, they soaked 2 Pantheon ganks, and that was phenomenal for them. Like, really like hard committed ganks, and they survived them, and they got literally nothing in mid, nothing on top. Couldn't really do much in bot lane, but they're still like almost even in CS. But as it progressed, like, yeah, like the Rel and the Corki steadily just kept beating them out, and they were kind of clumping too much, so the Rel was getting high value too. And as the game progressed, it was just very obvious that like they were just running into a wall. Honestly, they were just running into a wall. Like, BLG stacked the dragons. Like, they had 3 dragons as the scaling comp. It was over. So this draft was not great. Like, for how that team plays and how that team is, And knowing that BLG's a team that kind of makes mistakes and can kind of let the game get away from them, this was not a good decision to me. Like, you basically put yourself in a position where if you make mistakes, then bad things can happen. And they gave themselves like some opportunities to just progress fine, you know? So game 2 was kind of a loss. Game 1, you know, this was still an even draft. They just played better. This game, they did a bad draft and they kind of just lost. The third game, you know, they take a Vi and then they take Senna Rise. And already it's like, it's a very classic FlyQuest approach. Senna Rise. Okay, we're definitely going more scaling. It's a Rise pick. And they just slam Ahri. So they have Ahri Vi, which is, of course, scary because this is like their greatest strength, is mid-jungle. Actually, it's not even mid-jungle. It's literally just mid. Mid is their greatest strength. So they took something that enhances it. And they took an Mbessa. Now, the Poppy was really good. I mean, like, the Poppy has very high value. But he took GP. And the thing is, can Bwipo GP? Like, is he an actual GP player? And honestly, the answer is no, he's not. Like, I've never envisioned or saw Bwipo as a good GP player, and they took it into Mbessa, and it it was not great because, well, I'll explain it a little bit before I get to the rest of the picks, but it was not great. They took Kai'Sa Nautilus. Another thing is, Nautilus is probably like the best pairing that Senna could typically get. And also, honestly, Nautilus is just generally like just good for them. Like, it gives you better ways to get picks. And yeah, generally, like, they could have just slammed Nautilus. Like, they're looking for a last pick, like, GG counter, and it's just not really there. I mean, like, they could have taken Braum, but then they really do have no pull whatsoever. And like, if you look at the two comps, typically you would say this team wins because they just have so many tools, you know? Like, we have literally Vyar, Ariar. Like, Mbessa can just kind of run around and just like fixate on people. You have a Kai'Sa Nautilus that can join the dive, but also play frontline and melt you. Like, it's a very obnoxious comp. So like, the Poppy R becomes extremely important. Like, if he does not perform, they lose. Like, that's pretty much how I felt. Or like him. Like, both these champions end up becoming so important for their draft to win out and to carry the game. And unfortunately, it did not happen because what happened? Well, they put bin focus again. You know, like, this game 2, they didn't do it. Game 3, they went back to it. There was 2 ganks and there was a Rise TP. Guess what? Bin, that outcome left him with even CS and 1 death. That was it. He literally had even CS and 1 death. And so you're thinking, wow, that's not great. I mean, like, my GP's not even really ahead. GP got none of the kills, by the way. He just got assists. And then Bin solo kills him. He solo kills Bwipo. Like, this just happens. And it's like, oh my god. That's so bad. Like, once that happened, the GP sort of just lost it. Like, all that effort that, like, the Poppy put in, like, and the Poppy had a jungle lead, by the way. So, like, the Poppy could have accelerated and played for herself to, like, increase her value. But she decided to do it, like, to give, like, Bwipo looks and help him get, like, out of the lane fine and, like, be able to perform. And then he tosses it away. So then Mbessa became a legit problem in the game. Unfortunately for bot lane, and this is the second game in a row now that this happens, is 2v2. Fly lost. Like, some of the trades that they were doing in bot lane, whether it's from Lucio or from Masu, just really bad. Like, I know one where, like, Lucio screws up, he loses a bunch of HP, Masu keeps trading, and then Masu gets hooked again, gets hooked in that same situation, loses a whole bunch of his HP, or he, like, dies, and it's like, wow, shit. that sucks. Like, the ball lane was just completely obliterated. And they were still able to get back into the game steadily, but it was rough. It was really rough. And honestly, part of the only reason why this actually became a game for Fly was because of On. On literally just like turbo ended it. Like, he probably died like 5 deaths. Like 5 deaths. 5 bad deaths in a row. It was that bad. Like, he was just running in on his own and he died. Running in his own, died. Run on his own, died. And so, like, it gave FlyQuest a lot of leverage and momentum to kind of get parts of the map back, get set up vision, and because Honest just keeps dying, you know, it's not like BLG can commit a 4v5 play, so FlyQuest was in it. And it turned to the point where they cleaned BLG and they're trying to end. And the funny thing is, On actually saved the game. And why? Because if this was the Nexus turrets, right? Like, let's say it's the Nexus. This is like the 2 turrets, right? And then you had like On was here, and then you had I think Knight was up still at this point. I don't know if anyone else was up, and like this was FlyQuest. I think also Ben was up going into this. I'm not sure. FlyQuest initiated on in the beginning, which by the way was just like completely unnecessary. Like, they could have just focused hitting this, like the turret. They don't. And so they focus on. They waste a bunch of time. They lose a bunch of HP, and unfortunately, Masu decides to like On dips. Like, On tries to like carry the wave after things are not going the best, and Masu chases him. Literally, Knight was like probably 100 HP sitting here, and Masu could have killed him, and Masu instead chased it on because he was over focused on him pulling the wave. And that actually saved the game for BLG. And unfortunately, they eventually died, FlyQuest, and then BLG won. So BLG had a better comp. They had a lead off their laning phase for the bot lane, which Elk was just like fucking killing them. Like, Elk had an incredible game. Really, he had an incredible game. And like I said, like, just had some slipped up situations, and then like especially because Ben also inted it a couple times for no reason, and FlyQuest comes back, and unfortunately, when they finally had a situation where they could actually win, after BLG kind of just gifted it to them, they lost it. Like, they literally just lost their marbles, and that was it. So we carry this on into game 4. And again, notice, same ban still happening by BLG. So we have a Varus first pick. Okay, Jhin is a great pick into Varus. Like, if you can ever get this matchup, you're pretty happy. They take Trundle. They take Rakan Yorick. Now, here's the thing. This guy's like 6-2 on Yorick, by the way. So I understand why they're very confident in this pick. We slam a Bard. The Bard was really good this game. Like, Busio was on one. Like, he did awesome. Syndra Kali bans, Ori Silas bans, they take Set. Now, to me, at first, when I looked at this, I was like, oh shit. Like, I know this is like the Blippo, like, classic, like, slam set, and we're gonna try to win the game. And it made me really worried at first, but it was pretty good, actually. Like, surprisingly enough, Ben didn't really understand how this goes. And so, like, the level 1, if this was, like, the bush, he's, like, the 3 bushes, right, in lane. Ben just decides to walk here into this bush. Here's Blippo. And all Blippo does, like, he just runs at him. They trade. He presses E. And that was it. Ben was, like, 30% HP at the end of that. Like, Ben literally just lost his lane from the get-go because Blippo just understood what his champion was better at. And Ben just didn't know. And Blippo had a very, very good game. Like, this guy, honestly, he was for sure the star of this game because he found a lot of picks. He had a ton of pressure. He was making really great plays. Like, honestly, like, it was a phenomenal game by Bwipo. And they took a Maokai Tristana, and honestly, their comp looks pretty rough. Like, all your APs on Maokai, which is not really great. This guy needed to go Mercs. He didn't go Mercs at all. He he built his 2 items before even getting it, and even then, he still got Alacrity, or Zerkers, sorry. And it's so OP into Hui because the only thing Hui can do, like if this is Trist and she jumps in, the only thing Hui can do is do an EQ. That's it. Like, he could just fear him away. If it lasts literally half a second, Trist is just right back on your ass. So, like, you pretty much have to EQ R, and then the place is kind of done. You lost your R, she's going to back away, that's it. Before then, still very difficult. And if you don't have R, then, like, yeah, you're kind of spooked, to be honest. So, he didn't really play that way at all, and that was pretty bad. He still ended up finding some value, but it was still not great. They also took a very shitty, like, Grubs fight, which, like, backfired on them. They just kind of got outplayed, honestly. Like, the Trundle was massive, too. Like, Trundle was super massive. And so I think the majority of them on FlyQuest just had a solid game. And even though, despite that, like, there were some situations where, like, people were dying that shouldn't die, the game felt pretty comfortable for FlyQuest in the end. And so great. You know, like, we had the first game, and now we had this game, which both look great. You know? We go into this last game, and this is where they just lost it in the draft, and that was it. Like, you could try to talk as much as you want about it, but still have a... Oops. Why did that happen? So we still have a cast ban. We have an Azir ban. And we have an Ori ban. And this was expected because, honestly, like, I was talking to my friends because we're all watching the 5th game together. And it's like we're looking at the champs, and it's like the only thing he has is, like, Orianna. Like, for, like, what Quad plays. Because Quad doesn't play melees. Like, Quad with melees doesn't happen. Like, he just doesn't play it. Like, this is why we see, like, a Yone ban, right? Now, the Skarner ban was awful. And the Nami ban was also awful. Because why are we taking Lucian and we're banning Nami? Now, his picks are, like, Milio, Braum, Nami, right? Like, these are champions that you can play with Lucian. But they're banning one of his combos. And we're, like, and Nautilus is banned, by the way. Like, Nautilus is gone. So, like, Nautilus is, like, one of the worst, like, things for Nami to deal with. And that's gone. So we got rid of our own pick like that. And then we banned a Skarner, which I don't even know why. Like, do you think Beitron is going to do anything on Skarner? Absolutely not. That guy sucks on that pick. And so they slammed Galio 1 pick. I mean, keep in mind, they've been banning it this entire time. So to them, they clearly value Galio. Like, it's very evident that they clearly value Galio. Now, if they 1-pick Yone, what are you going to do? I mean, I'm not sure what he plays into it. I mean, they at this point, they could play TF and it'd be okay in a way. Like, at least you have, like, a goal card and everything, right? Or maybe they slam Rumble 1 pick, and then your answer into Rumble. I mean, you still don't really have a lot into Rumble, but, like, at least you're not dealing with the shit that happens. But yeah, they take Galio. That's your answer into Rumble, by the way. Like, that was their CP answer. So they don't have a good answer to Rumble. They could have banned Rumble here too, and then given Galio, and then at least that's also better. You take Lucian, which is weird. We slam Lee Sin. He's a good Lee Sin. Is this okay? Yeah, it's probably fine. You know, in the end, this is probably fine. They take Nocturne, Rumble, and already when I'm looking at the first 3 picks, I'm like, this looks bad. Like, this already looks really bad. They pick Leona because like they don't really feel confident playing, like, Milio into this. There's no Karma. There's no Nami, which honestly, yeah, Nami, like, would have had some issues, but it would have been great for Lucian to just, like, play the way he wants to play. So we have a Leona. Okay. They ban Gragas, and then, wow, to no surprise, they ban your TF. You took Leona for the melee pick versus taking the TF. So he has nothing. He literally has nothing. We banned Caitlyn Braum. Okay, I get it. I get why you want to ban Braum. Leona Braum were both up. Technically, you could have had. Like, I mean, to be honest, it's like seeing these guys who have to literally jump into you. Braum might have been better for you, but I don't think that's the reason why they lost. And then they slam in Urgot, and I'm like, Urgot doesn't beat Rumble. Like, a really good Rumble kind of will just out DPS you. Though I have seen Urgot's perform versus Rumble, it's not an easy matchup by any means, and not something I'd be very happy to play as, but yeah, sure, he did it. They took a Shen. This was a nice pick. This was great. Honestly, the Shen pick was really, really good for this game. And they took an Ashe, which ended up being just fine. In the Ashe pick, like, she added an extra set of just, like, engage, scouting for the Lee Sin, who's just gonna move around. Good, consistent DPS. And so, like, their overall draft looks great. What did they take? The most random fucking pick in the world. Zilean. Like, LS ended up tweeting, like, LS said, like, I told him. You know, like, or something like that. Like, I told him. Like, and obviously, like, I don't know, like, how believable this is that LS had any influence on, like, the champions that, like, the team picks, because I highly doubt it. But LS says he told him the Zilean pick overall, when you look at the comps, is just awful. Like, for one, who is Zilean speeding up to enhance this game? Lucian, okay. But Lucian doesn't have a good partner to really just, like, take over the game. He has a Leona. Okay. The Zilean's into Galio. Zilean's never killing Galio. Lee Zilean is just, like, not very strong compared to these two, so they're never 2v2ing mid jungle, which means that the Galio, what does that mean? He has perma moves. Perma moves. That just crushed the game. That just ruined the game beyond belief, because you can't do anything. And that's what happened in the game. Like, Knight just had the most insane Galio game of his life. He literally was affecting bot lane, he was affecting top lane, he was winning mid, and he was affecting jungle in a way. So, like, they couldn't take any objectives. Like, literally, Inspired could do 0 objectives. Sometimes he stole a camp. Like, he did Raptors, and then he tried to do his, like, the enemy red buff just died because he's like, oh shit, right, like, they can respond to me pretty quick because the Nocturne has range, the Galio has range, they have Ashe ulti. Like, there's just so many tools, again, on their side that they gave themselves compared to FlyQuest, which is just very, like, we have to win the lanes. Like, we must win the lanes. And to make it worse, this guy dies level 3. Level 3, he ints. He dies under turret, and this guy doesn't even flash. Wow, that's extremely bad. Also, to find out that, no surprise, Quad does not play Zilean. We just slammed it for some odd reason. Then we look at Masu, who level 1, standing in this bush, stood outside it. When these guys clearly were moving, like, they literally showed by mid, and they started moving over. And so you would think you're either going to sit in the bush to see them, like, show, or you're just going to run away and not sit in there. He sat outside of it some odd reason, which is just a huge fluke of a mistake. And he lost his, like, he just lost half his HP. And he had to start, like, he used his cleanse, and he had to start E. And even then, they actually did fine in lane. Like, really, like, they actually did okay-ish in lane for like, what the situation was. But because also at the same time, yeah, like, this guy died level 3 and was omega useless, they got screwed over even more because of that. And this game just completely fell apart, and it was a huge, honestly, it was just, I don't want to say this, but it was just a waste of time in the end of the day. It was a waste of time to watch it because it was just not even remotely close. The game fell apart within 3 minutes. And knowing the draft, if it falls apart within 3 minutes, it's over. You don't have good tools to get back into the game. So how do I feel after explaining all this on the teams? Well, I think BLG is still the same. Like, for the most part, they're still the same. The only thing I can say is that Elk is, like, on it. Like, honestly, this guy is definitely, like, hitting a stride. And that's pretty scary. Like, even for On, like, in the laning phase, doing better. And of course, Knight doing great too. You know? Like, Knight has been, like, the #1 performer in most situations, but Elk has been a very, very good part of the team play and just winning out. But the ints by Bin, the ints by On, the ints by Beishuan, like, it's a lot. And, like, how did they beat AL? Because if they're making these mistakes consistently throughout, it's just bad, you know? It's literally just bad. Like, they'll never beat Genji, that's for sure. Like, that team just makes way less mistakes than BLG does. And with competing lanes, so it's a little sad to me that FlyQuest could not beat a team that just has so many issues and they can actually match into them. Because this was such a great opportunity to be like, yeah, we beat BLG. Like, yeah, we beat the #2 Chinese team. They still couldn't get it done. That sucks. For FlyQuest, it's like, I love Masu. You know, he's the guy that I recruited for FlyQuest when I worked for them. And he's been phenomenal in a lot of situations, but I'm not gonna lie, this was kind of a down series for him. Like, he definitely did not play as well as he could have for the 5 games, and that end result kind of hurt them a bit. I think Busio was actually, well, he was 50-50. I think he had some situations that were not ideal, but honestly, I do like the direction that Busio's going. And so that was great to see. Inspired was just the fucking guy. Like, there's nothing else to say. He was the fucking guy. Whippo is still fine, honestly. Like, he's still fine for what he's doing. He's competing against Bin. He's competing against, like, other top laners. And unless he makes, like, a very stupid mistake, which sometimes kind of snowballs away, he's been fine. The only thing is, it kind of sucks that he has to, like, give a little bit more leverage and help to Whippo. And it does also suck that FlyQuest is still a little too top jungle heavy. This doesn't, like, I want to say this doesn't really happen a lot with some of these teams. Like, they're very much more mid jungle focused. And since there's this is like a kind of a weakness of theirs, when they hit, like, the international stage, like, they face all these teams who are, like, strong in mid lane, and it's rough. And for Quad, like, it was kind of like a down. It was kind of a down series in the end of the day, like a tournament for him, because it's like, is he going to be able to show more? Because if he can't, yeah, like I said, this is just going to be a consistent weakness of theirs. And they're going to have to hope that, like, them playing through the Blippo lane and then also Masabusio handling themselves is going to be enough. But yeah, that was kind of the review of the 5-game series. I'm still happy that FlyQuest was able to make it this far. I just hope that they can apply the lessons they received, not, like, really tighten up some of their drafts, like, in the later stages of Fearless, and make sure that, like, everyone's ready to perform, because the guy who's always performing is Inspired no matter what. But that you can't just be the only guy performing, you know? And for BLG, like I said, don't have a lot of hope. There's still, like, they still have incredible carries in guys like Elk and Knight, Bin sometimes, but they're just kind of a sad team to watch, because you know that they could be incredible, but they're just not. That's all. So thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to like and subscribe.